Fascinating discussion. The company is called Turbine Truck Engine, stock symbols TTEG. If you'd like more information, you can call us toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449 to get free information in the mail. Now, Sandy, what about fuel requirements? Can the DGCT engine basically operate on other fuels besides diesel?
That's one of the geniuses of the engine. It is truly a flex fuel engine. You could start, I'm in Orlando right now, you could start in Orlando with a fuel tank full of diesel, drive to Atlanta and fill it up with gasoline, drive to Nashville, fill it up with propane, drive to St. Louis and fill it up with natural gas, drive to Kansas City, fill it up with hydrogen. It's truly a flex fuel engine, and the implications of that are enormous. The world is going through a significant change in terms of the way it views energy and how energy should be consumed. And one of the problems that this is presenting to us is how do we create the infrastructure to gather and distribute these energies around the world. And one of the beauties of the detonation cycle gas turbine engine is that it allows us to start with where we are today. And then as these fuels become publicly and readily available around the world, then the engine can migrate with those fuels so that it's something that can be used in the relatively in the short term, but which we see as having a life cycle as a technology probably of 40 to 50 years.
Well, Sandy, what about the environmental benefits of the engine? What can you tell us about that?
That's another of the genius aspects of the engine, Don. What happens in that cylinder, that explosion that takes place, it is so powerful that it is a complete burn of the air-fuel mixture. The effect of that is that it virtually eliminates all of the harmful emissions that come out of the tailpipe of a vehicle. In other words, I know you're in LA, and I know LA, having been there a number of times, has a smog problem. If the detonation cycle gas turbine engine was in every vehicle in Los Angeles would not have a smog problem. If it were in every vehicle in Beijing, Beijing would not have a smog problem. It would eliminate acid rain. It is, as I said, a complete burn of the air-fuel mixture, and the effects on the environment by using this engine are truly dramatic.
Well, now, there's more than 5 million heavy-duty trucks on the road in the U.S. alone. It would seem that your advantages have you positioned for a pretty lucrative market.
It does, Don. Of course, when Robert and Michael first met and talked about the first application for the engine, they discussed the heavy-duty trucking market, and therefore the name of the company is Turbine Truck Engines. But the fact is that this engine would be appropriate for any shaft-driven application. It's scalable. You can scale it down to use it with a motorcycle, an automobile, a bus, a heavy-duty Class 7 or Class 8 truck. It would propel an ocean liner across the ocean, assuming that the engine performs as the engineers believe that it will. And the effect of that is that the number of applications for this engine around the world are truly, truly dramatic. It can change the way the planet operates.
Well, speaking of the planet, you mentioned China a few minutes ago. The company is going to be going to something in Shanghai called the Global Chinese Financial Forum. What's the company doing in China?
Well, one of the challenges that the company had in the first years since 2000 was the acquisition of capital. This is not an uncommon problem with new high-tech or industrial companies to acquire the capital needed to develop the technology that they have. And Mike faced some challenges here in the United States. The infrastructure was already in place, political alliances were already set, but he began last year, 2008, to make some inroads into China. And there he found a highly receptive audience to the potential that this engine represents. And in China, he has developed relationships with 3 companies. One of those companies will be developing the engine for the automotive, 150 horsepower version for the automotive market, a 400 horsepower version for the busing market. Another of the companies will be developing the engine for the motorcycle market, which is truly huge, and in China. And then a third company is a conglomerate, and they are going to be developing the engine with a view of using it as a genset in Mongolia. A third company that Mike has developed a relationship with is Gohao, which is located in Mongolia. Among the businesses that Gohao is in, they're involved in coal mining, and they see the potential of this engine to be used as a genset, and they are in the process of working on the development of the engine for that purpose. We see probably that the first utilizations of the engine will be in China, and then we will be moving from China around the world.
Well, Sandy, we're just about out of time, but I do want to ask you, why is this a good time right now for people to take a closer look at turbine truck engines?
Well, it's a great time because of where the company is in the cycle of development. As I said, the company was formed in the year 2000. It's been a tough 9 years, and it's to Michael Rouse's credit that he has stayed with this and done the hard work that it takes to move the company to where it is today. We believe that we're in the latter stages of prototype development, and Mike Rouse, the president of the company, believes that the stock of the company is undervalued at this time. I would say this, Don, there was a point in my personal life, my career, when I considered becoming a certified financial planner, fee-based. And one of the things I learned in that process is that when a person is considering investing in any company, they need to do their due diligence. They need to understand where the company is, the potential value that it offers, and then make a decision about investing in the company as a function of their overall portfolio. One of the beauties of turbine truck engines right now is the price of the stock, which is low. And therefore, almost anyone who has a stock portfolio would be able to take a position in the company with the view that there is risk because it is still a developmental stage company. But the upside potential is truly enormous, and a small play can turn into a big result with turbine truck engines.
Once again, Turbine Truck Engines, TTEG. Sandy, we're initiating coverage of your company this week and be following you very closely the rest of this year and throughout the first quarter of 2010. I think we have you scheduled to come back out here to Los Angeles and talk to us again. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Don. It's been nice to be with you today.
Take care.